Good frown lines like that. What are you thinking about?
You. Your plans for Barbara. I'm nervous, that's all.
There's nothing to be nervous about. It will work, I assure you. I know my ex-wife better than she knows herself.
Yes, I believe you. I do, and I trust you. I'm just worried. Other than Dr. Silvestri, the only thing I've had to do so far is keep my eyes and ears open to supply you with information. But this accident, I'm just afraid if something goes wrong.
Nothing will go wrong. And you won't be going through this alone. I'll be in constant touch. I'll be with you every step of the way. Trust me.
I keep your picture here, so you'll be close all the time we're not together.
Because we'll very soon we'll be together for always, and you mustn't get anxious about that. It'll interfere with your mission, and I'm counting on you.
And you can. You know, there's one person we haven't discussed. Someone you were very close to. We never even brought up her name.
Who?
Emily. What about Emily Stewart?
You must be wrong, Barbara. Emily couldn't have an affair with Tonio. She hates him as much as everybody else does. I mean, I can't go into specifics, but she was a great help to me in getting back my company.
Well, I'm sure she does hate Tonio, especially since he dumped her after he found out Meg was pregnant.
Barbara, unless you've got more proof than some idle gossip.
I heard Emily discussing it. Now, Craig, we're very good together in business. That's important to me. I wouldn't want this to disrupt any of that. And I just thought you should know about Emily before you go into this partnership blind. Well, I have to go. So you just think about it, okay? Bye.
You shouldn't be so down on yourself, Emily. Sure, you made a mistake with James and Holden. But you should be proud of the fact that you were enough in control of your life to stop before you made a bigger mistake with someone like Tonio. Frankly, I'm surprised Tonio never came on to you.
Tonio is a sleaze. He probably is playing around behind Meg's back even now that she's pregnant. But this Isabella woman, she's got to know that he's married. What kind of woman could sleep with a married man and then have respect for herself or expect anybody else to respect her?
Hi. Am I right?
Hello, Rod. I'm sorry I had to ask you to leave earlier.
No problem. I'll come back later, Meg.
No, that's perfectly all right. Meg and I just had a good talk about trying to deal with our loss. Put all of this behind us. Make our marriage even stronger. I'll let you get some rest, Meg. I'll see you in a little while, all right? How long are you going to be staying in town, Rod?
It depends. Why?
Well, I just thought that if you're going to be here for any length of time, that you and I should try to make peace for Meg's sake. I know it won't be easy, but...
Yeah, we'll give it a try. I don't understand what's going on with that guy. I have trouble even looking at him after what I did to him. And in spite of this newfound politeness, I know that the man hates my guts. What's going on here, Meg? What is he up to?
Either you go along with everything I've suggested, or I'll go to the police and send your lover to prison.
What is this, Meg? What is wrong?
As the world turns. This portion brought to you today by Crisco shortening. Bring them home to Crisco Home Cooking.
Nothing's wrong. I mean, it's true, the loss of the baby has made Tonio a very different man. But there's nothing you won't do for me. We're going to try very hard to make our marriage work.
I see. I think. I know that you were keeping the marriage together for the baby's sake, but now?
Well, I told you when you suggested that I leave Tonio that I still love him. All I've ever wanted was a good marriage. Now I have more reason than ever.
I only hope that you really thought this through carefully. I mean, if that's the decision you want to make, I'll go along with it, because more than anything, you know, I want you to be happy.
I want you to be happy, too.
You know, when I found out you lost the baby, I felt so terrible, Meg, so bad for your loss. And in a funny way, for mine, too. You see, in the back of my head, I kind of always thought that maybe the baby was mine.
Oh, George, the baby was...
Hey, I know. You know, you told me all about the chart business and all of that. I know the baby couldn't have been mine. I better go. I'll let you rest. This has helped me answer some questions.
What questions?
About my decision to leave Oakdale. You know, I know that it was the right one to make. Be good to yourself.
Josh, wait.
What?
You wouldn't leave town without saying goodbye again, would you?
Not a chance.
Yes, I think Tonio will definitely take the bait this time, since he's lost his business to Craig. His arrogance, pride, and his hatred of Craig Montgomery all work to my advantage. Plus, Mr. Reyes has grown accustomed to power, which is a very seductive addiction. And that makes him ripe for a key position as a contact for me in Oakdale.
Why do you need him when you have me?
Well, to help you with my plan for Barbara and Paul. You'll need an ally. Don't you see? Antonio is perfect. His affair with Barbara leaves no love lost between the two of them. Certainly shows a lapse of taste on her part, shows what kind of woman she is.
Didn't Emily have an affair with Tonio, too?
What is your obsession with Emily?
Well, I know how close you once were. And I've met her. She's very beautiful. And I know that she once carried your child.
There's certainly no plans in my future for Emily. She's had too many men for my taste. And that, my beautiful lady, is why you are so very important to me. Because I know I was your first. Emily's had Holden, Tonio, now probably Craig Montgomery. Yes, Emily will dig her own grave.
Craig? Craig, why don't you tell me what's bothering you? Hey, come on, you've been acting strange.
I saw Barbara on the way to the elevator. Did she say something to you?
Yes. Suppose there's no reason to hold it back now. I think it's been under wraps long enough.
What has?
Your affair with Tonio. Well, it's true. How about that?
Oh, God, I don't believe she said that.
How could you let that man touch you? After all the conversations you and I have had about Tonio's infidelity and your great concern for Meg, boy, I'm stupid. Suddenly I'm sitting in a room with a human being who's nothing like the woman I thought I was getting to know.
Craig, I didn't want you to find out.
Oh, I can understand why.
No, until I could find a way to tell you myself. Craig, if I could change that part of my life, I would. Please listen to me. Please listen to me. My marriage to Holden was a mistake. It was all wrong. It never should have happened. I felt alone and second best. Antonio was there every day, saying and doing all the things that I needed.
Meg was there every day, too, and that didn't seem to affect you one bit.
Of course, it affected me. But I was vulnerable. Antonio took advantage.
Oh, give me a break, Emily. You know what kind of a low-life sleaze the man is. And yet you let him use you. I used to give you a lot more credit as a woman, considering what you went through with James. But you made a choice to sleep with a man that you knew was as underhanded and cruel as Stenbeck.
Do I have to remind you that Sierra was married to the same man?
No, you don't have to remind me of that.
Craig, I didn't mean that.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
sorry.
No, hey,
No, I
that's
didn't
it.
mean
I
it.
need
Craig,
to-
please don't. No.
Well, I'm very glad that James was so pleased to get my information on Earl Mitchell. Oh, Roderick, there's someone at the door. I have to go. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao. Ah, Duncan. The punctual Scotsman as ever?
Consider it a measure of my respect, Lilith, along with these chocolates.
Oh.
I must say I was surprised at the luncheon invitation.
Well, I'm sure you expected some kind of ulterior motive. No, I was just hoping that our last few days together might be civil ones. Oh, excuse me.
Hi.
How are you? Do come in. I hope that you'll forgive my presumption, but I feel that the bad feeling between the two of you is mostly my fault, and I wanted to leave Oakdale knowing that I had at least done my part to make things right between the two of you. I'm going to check on room service, but I'll do it in the other room. Excuse me.
Shannon, I swear to you, I did not know that she had done this.
I believe you. Don't ask me why, but I do.
Well, then you'll stay.
Well, of course, it would be rude to leave now.
Well, that's a start.
I'm having a sense of deja vu, aren't you?
About what?
Well, Doris Pierpont, another woman from your past, invited us separately, and she ended up dead.
Aye. And I don't want the same thing to happen to you.
Oh, shush, don't go on about that again. Besides, the best thing, according to you, for my welfare is for you to stay as far away from me as possible, in case Lilith is the dangerous psychotic you married so many years ago.
Iva. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hello, Josh. Josh, I want to let you know how much I appreciate your concern for Meg. And the way you came down here and all like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Seth. Coming from you, that means a lot. I gotta get some air. I'll see you folks around.
Well, look, I'm thinking of going back to Wisconsin tonight, now that Meg's out of danger. But I want to try and convince her to come out to the farm to recuperate.
I don't think that's going to happen. From what Josh told me, Meg is going to go home with Tonio.
I haven't had much of a chance to talk to Meg.
Look, I know how close you two are. I have this feeling that something is not quite right with her determination to make this marriage work.
Wait, she said that?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago. Antonio was like the perfect gentleman to me. Too perfect, you know? Maybe she'll open up with you.
Maybe.
I'll talk to her, though, okay?
Good.
I tried to warn you against Barbara. Craig just walked out?
Yes. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is gonna be the start of a whole new life for me. Now Barbara goes and destroys it.
Well, just calm down. Let's just sit down here and discuss this quietly.
The first thing you've got to remember is, in the future, steer clear of Barbara.
Are you kidding me? She did this deliberately. And as soon as I can find the ammunition, I'm gonna pay her back.
I just want a little piece of your heart. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. Just getting more and more time around here. Should I be preparing for my divorce from Hal?
Didn't know you were marrying. I'm just here to check out more Stenbeck case.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Oh, I almost forgot that customs check you requested. It should be coming in very soon.
Oh, great, Jerry. Would you?
You're taking an early lunch, okay?
Thanks.
See you later.
Bye, Mrs. Mudd. Customs check? Huh? Would that have anything to do with uncovering James' new contact here in Oakdale?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it would, because there's a whole bunch of things that don't add up, starting with the night that Tonio was beaten, and Duncan finding him. And also, I don't know why Stenbeck hasn't messed with Duncan, which leads my little devious detective brain to think that he doesn't want attention called to the people around Duncan, one of whom could be his contact.
Well, that sounds pretty good. And who is rattling around in that devious little detective's brain of yours?
Well, Lilith McKechnie, for one. I mean, the way she showed up here out of nowhere, and then that story about escaping from that institution in Portugal. Plus, Duncan is not totally convinced she was cured, so she could be dangerous. Also, be right in character with Stenbeck's sense of humor to sick her on Duncan like that.
Sounds a little too neat, Sherlock.
Well, Watson, why don't you stay and have some lunch with me, and we'll hash it over, huh?
Gee, I'd love to, but I really can't. I got a lot to do. But by the way, thank you very much for all your help with the move.
Hey, it was purely selfish, I assure you. I mean, the sooner that you moved in here, the sooner you get back here. The place has not been the same without you. Oh, I keep forgetting to ask you the question that I wanted to ask. Every time I pick up Adam, I think of it. I should have asked you a long time ago.
Wow, this sounds serious.
Well, to me, it is. I guess you know it's no secret that I've been wanting to have a baby of my own, and I've been pushing Barbara about starting a family, but I know that Barbara has reservations about a baby getting in the way of her career, you know?
I get it. You want me to enlighten Barbara on the happy homemaking hints that I could offer her about juggling career.
That's
and
it.
No.
Good.
No,
yeah,
no,
why
no.
not?
Because first of all, Barbara wouldn't listen to... Oh,
Come on.
Munson. For you, I will think about it, but...
And then you'll do it! Yes, you will. I knew I could depend on you. Oh, thanks, partner.
Hi.
Hi!
Surprised to see you here, Margot, with all you have to do, with Tom being out of town.
Well, actually, I just came here. I was talking to Hal about, James.
There's news?
Not really. We're just kind of brainstorming some ideas around, that's all.
You know who James hasn't contacted yet, as far as we know?
Who?
Emily.
No, I think we would have heard if he had.
Have you forgotten how obsessed she was with James? I mean, she lied for him all last summer to cover up for him.
No, I don't buy it, Margot, because Emily knows that if James comes back here, it's just to settle old scores, and she's too close to Barbara and to Paul to willingly put them in jeopardy like that.
Oh, James, it's been so wonderful being with you again. I just can't stand the thought of leaving.
Oh, darling, I can't stand the thought of you leaving either. But the sooner our work is finished in Oakdale, the sooner we'll be together on my island. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Good. All right, now, about the news you're going to give Duncan.
All right, I talked to Megan at the sanitarium. In her honest opinion, Lilith is totally cured, and Silvestri hid the truth because he loved her. So Duncan has nothing to fear from her. Oh, my God, what if he doesn't believe me? What if he tries to contact Megan himself?
Teresa, I am totally confident that you'll be convincing. You'll make Duncan believe that Megan was very hesitant about giving you the information. You have already established that Megan was in love with Silvestri.
Yes, but that's true. I mean, she did love him, and she would tell Duncan the truth in a second if he contacts her.
Megan won't say anything to anyone. I'll see to that. But what is more important, you must find that manuscript. Now, Roderick is convinced that Lilith had it with her when she escaped. And it will contradict everything that you'll be telling Duncan now. It will give him the proof to put her away. So it is up to you to find it and destroy it. This is very important.
I'll see it through. I know what it means to our future together.
Now, it's time we get to the airport. You don't want to miss that plane. The sooner you get back to Oakdale, the better. And who knows, maybe Tonio will decide to take my proposition and our plans will go even more smooth.
Are you sure Dr. Samuel said this was all right for you to do?
Oh, yes. Oh, and who better to get my sea legs back with than my handsome brother?
Hey, come on, Meg. Give me a break, all right? I just don't want you to push yourself.
No, I'm not, really. I want to get out of this room as fast as I can.
Well, I can certainly understand that. What's this going back to Tonio bit, huh?
Going back to Tonio? Making it sound like I was leaving him or something.
Well, that's what Tonio told us. But he said that he convinced you to come back.
That's true, he did convince me.
Meg, come on now, sit down.
Okay. I got it.
Look, why don't you go out to the farm for a while? Whole family will be around you. You can have your room back, do some thinking. I have my reservations about Josh, but I'll be gone. He can feel free to come visit you.
Stop it, okay? I can't. I mean, it all sounds wonderful, but, I've already made this commitment to Tonio, and I have to go through with it.
What are you trying to tell me, Meg?
Hi. Oh, hi.
Hi. How are you? Look. I'm up.
Yay!
Yeah.
Hi, Seth. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to just barge in here. Am I interrupting something?
No, that's okay. I better get going. You take care of yourself, while I'm away. I'm not very far, you know.
I'll give you a call. I love you very much.
Funny how it works both ways. I love you too, Meg. Take care. Bye-bye. So long, Pam.
So, how you doing?
Good, yeah.
You going out to the farm to recuperate?
No, I'll be going back with Tonio. My place is with him now that our baby's gone.
Meg, I would think that the penthouse would be the last place you'd want to go after your accident. God, I wish I'd stayed that night. I have a feeling none of this would ever have happened. I just saw Rod out there, and he's very worried about you going back there with Tonio. Now, he must think an awful lot of you to have come back here so quickly.
I almost wish he hadn't come back.
And what is that supposed to mean? Meg, would you please tell me what really happened last night? We're friends. I would hate to think that you're holding back on me now. What is the real story?
We'll continue with part 2 of As the World Turns in just a moment. And now part 2 of As the World Turns.
Well, I think you're staying here for a while would be good for Meg.
No, I still think it's best if I clear out. I got to spend some time with my mom. She's a changed woman. For the first time, we had a real talk about my father. How he and my mother met. All her family did to keep them apart. He probably never even knew about me. Though she said that she did send him a letter. You know, I guess I'll always wonder if he got that letter. If he didn't, or if he just ignored the fact that she was pregnant. You know, my whole life would have been different if If you'd been around, I guess my history with you certainly would have changed. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. That's really stupid of me.
Well, meeting my natural father made me think how different my life would have been knowing that he gave me up for adoption. You know, but I tried to see his side. Tried to remember how I felt when I gave Lily up.
Some vicious cycle, that guilt loss thing. I've talked about that a lot with Dr. Michaels.
Well, I don't think either one of us can dwell on that. Just deal with it and move on.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Go back to my mom's.
No, I meant move on emotionally. Well, you must know that Lily really loves you, and I think Meg needs you now more than she's willing to admit. Well, maybe Craig just needs some time to accept it.
No, you didn't see his face when he walked out on me. You know, it was hard enough working with Holden, Antonio, and now I have to do it all again with Craig.
Darling, you know, one of these days, you're going to have to give some serious thought as to why you make such terrible decisions. I've been there. I admit it. I tried to self-destruct with alcohol. I had such a low opinion of myself that I kept creating situations that hurt me.
Ma, please. Please. It's a pretty heavy conversation for us to have on top of everything that's going on with me right now, okay? I'm gonna go back to the office and see if Craig is back.
Okay. I'll walk out. He was pleading for another chance, and I finally said yes, and then I went to go get some brandy and some milk, and clumsy me, I tripped, and I fell on the stairs.
Yeah, that's word for word what Tonya told me.
Yes, that's what happened.
So you're really planning on going through with this reconciliation, Meg? It doesn't make any sense to me. I was with you last night when you told me that Tonio had this affair, that Rod was the one who beat him up.
You promised never to say that to anybody, ever.
I'm not going to. But you were determined to leave him last night, Meg.
Look, Pam, I really can't just keep going over this again.
I'm sorry. But as your friend, Meg, I just have to tell you that I think you're making a huge mistake. Look, there's one more question that I have to ask you, and then I promise there's no more.
What is it?
Well, Caleb told me that when he and Lily went over to your house to get your stuff, there was no evidence of the fall. No broken glass anywhere, no nothing.
Well, obviously because Tonio cleaned it up while we were waiting for the ambulance.
If you say so.
Look, Pam, I know you're trying to be a friend, and I really do appreciate it. I'd never want to lose your friendship.
Well, you won't. You get some rest now, okay? We'll talk later.
Oh.
Oh,
Hi,
Margot.
Pam.
I was just leaving.
Oh, I just wanted to know if Meg was up for another visitor.
This doesn't have anything to do with Tonio's beating, does it?
No, I'm not even back at work yet.
Oh.
I just, wanted to come by because I've been where you are right now, and I wanted to say how sorry I was.
Hey, Pam. Meg tell you anything new?
No, and her story will match Tonio's perfectly. She's determined to stay with him, but you know what? I know that there's something wrong. I mean, it's like she's scared.
You must be on top of the world with a baby you've always wanted and a husband you love. I'm so glad this baby brought you and Tom back together again. I mean, I've always thought that you were a couple that, you know, really should be together, that, you know, against all the odds and everything. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Don't be sorry. Come on, let it out. And don't ever be embarrassed about letting it out. It's really important to get it out. I cried for days and days and days and days. I'm still crying sometimes.
I just have this empty feeling, you know, like this terrible ache I don't think is ever gonna go away. Hi. I'm glad you called me to tell me you were back. Walked out on me.
I didn't know what else to do. It seemed best at the time.
I understand. There's so many things I want to explain to you, and I didn't think I was going to have the chance to do that. The time I've spent with you...
Oh, hey, what? I think we better limit this conversation to you, Antonio.
That's fair. You once told me that, you made a lot of mistakes in your life that you wouldn't want to be judged for now. We've always had that in common. But you had one difference. You had someone like Sierra come into your life and turn it around. I've never been that fortunate. I've always just made self-destructive mistakes with men. It goes back to when I was a little girl. My mother got custody of me. And she took me away from my father. She took me away from my father, and ever since then, I need a man in my life to make me feel important.
Any man?
No, not any man. You will never understand. You won't know how guilty, how dirty I feel because of my affair with Tonio. But I can't do anything about it. It's over. Craig, I'm sorry for keeping the truth from you. But I knew that you would react this way. And I didn't want to take the chance of losing somebody who made me feel so special.
Oh, that's great. So me and Tonio and James Stenbeck, we all just made you feel special.
Please! Please don't twist my words! I know that I've hurt you. I know I disappointed you, Craig. But that's not even remotely the same.
I can tell you this, Emily. It might have been different if it was anybody else but Tonio and Meg. But I can promise you that this is going to take a very long time for me to get through, if I can.
What about us? What about our partnership?
Oh, don't worry about that. No, I won't try to change or get out of our business relationship. But you better ask yourself a question. You see, you have to make a decision. Whether or not we can or can't work together under these conditions.
Well, it looks as though my little attempt at matchmaking hasn't been very successful. Neither one of you is touching your wine. Look, I would have thought that surely by now all secrets were out, all motivations clear. I had hoped that if I was going to stay on in Oakdale, which I'm not, that we would have been able to be friends. Perhaps not. Excuse me. Hello? One moment, please. This is a personal phone call. I'll take it in the bedroom.
Oh, Heckney, don't you dare.
Dan, you are so suspicious. What does Lilith have to do to prove to you that she is fine?
Right now, what I'd like to know is what I have to do to make things right between us. We've been through so much together, Shannon.
Yeah, well, perhaps too much. My trust in you has been so shattered, Duncan. Even if I were willing to try to make things right, I think it would take longer than either of you and I have left.
I'd wait a lifetime for you, Lassie.
Even that might not be long enough.
Well, I hope that the ice is breaking up a little bit between the two of you.
You know, not to change the subject, but I was wondering about your plants out on the terrace, how they survive the cold.
Oh, I suppose they get their warmth and nourishment from me, and after I leave, I suppose they'll die. It's a pity.
Oh, well, yes, I'm sure they've had a longer life than they ever dreamed of having anyway. Of course, then again, plants don't dream, do they?
Well, no, not in the literal sense, although they do react to stimuli like every living thing. I suppose that adverse conditions might make them even stronger. Perhaps some of them won't die at all. They'll just hibernate and reappear again at some other point.
You mean you're going to leave them when you go?
Yes, unless you'd like to take them with you to Lisa's.
I'd love to, but I don't think they'd survive.
Oh, of course they would. I was going to bring in some of the more delicate ones anyway. Perhaps we could choose one now.
Well, actually, there is one that I would be interested in, the strange one in the corner with the weird leaves. I could take it with me today.
Ah, I know the one you mean. Unfortunately, that's my very favorite, and I'd like to keep it with me until I go. But there are plenty of others. Shall we go and find some?
Fine, yeah, no problem.
Exhilarating day outside.
Well, I'm really glad you could stop by for lunch. I'm sorry that Margot had to leave.
No. Margot's a brand new mother. She's not even used to it yet. Why don't you let her have as much time as she wants with the baby so she doesn't have any regrets later on?
You know what? That is another reason why you're not going to have any problem juggling a baby and a career. You already did it with Paul. Oh, that reminds me. How'd the appointment go with Dr. Samuels today? Is everything A-okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. Could I possibly talk to you about something without starting an argument?
Certainly hope so.
When we were over at Margot's earlier, you spoke about us having a baby right in front of Margot and Paul and Leanne.
Yeah, but hadn't we agreed on that?
Yes, we've agreed.
Oh.
I just don't. I want to be very sure about how my business is going so I can hand over responsibility to Hank. I just don't want to feel pushed, that's all. And then there's James.
What's that got to do with it?
Hell, I don't want to be pregnant with our baby and still feel threatened by James.
Well, I'm working on that, too. I've got a few leads that might just lead me to his contact.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Well, I got the information on Lilith McKinney.
Oh, great. Thanks, Jerry. Bullseye.
What? What?
I had a check run on Lilith McKechnie. It says here, James was last seen in Egypt, and it says here that she was in Egypt at the exact same time, right after she left Portugal.
Yeah, I also checked out the sanitarium in Portugal where she was a patient. Turns out it's been closed permanently.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You were in New York at the end of August at your show. It says here that she was in New York at the same time. And she stayed long enough to have James's dirty work done and be back here when she did.
Then she's the contact?
Well, it could be nothing more than coincidence at this point, but I'm going to have a talk with Mrs. McKechnie and clarify
No,
a few
wait.
things.
If you're going over there, I want you to be
catch her off
careful,
guard.
please.
Careful?
Yes.
I'm always careful. See you later.
Bye.
Hello, Mrs. McKechnie. Lilith. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Have I come at a bad time?
Hi, Tony. I didn't think you'd be here. I thought you'd be at the hospital visiting Meg.
I'd like to be, but you and Montgomery have made that impossible. So I was right about you all along. You sold me out. But now that Craig has his business back, he'll have to dump you. Because he knows he can't trust you either.
I'll come back when you're gone.
Hello? Who's there?
Hello, amigo. Did you get up on the wrong side of the bank this morning? Well, there are days like that. Look, I know you're probably busy cleaning out your office, so I won't keep you. This is my last offer, Tonio. It's time to decide. Do you want my help or not?
I have got to get going. I have stayed too long already.
Thank you. I mean, it really helps to talk about it.
Sure.
Margot?
Yeah.
Have they really dropped the investigation on Tonio's beating?
According to Hal, I think they have, yeah. I mean, Tonio wasn't much help. Personally, I hope they get the guy.
Well, what would happen if they did?
Well, it depends upon the individual. I mean, if he's had priors in the same offense, you know, or if Tonio knew his attacker and we could prove some sort of motive like, oh, I don't know, attempted murder, then the perpetrator would go to prison. Okay, good to see you, Meg.
Yeah. Oh, God. I've never felt so trapped in my life.
Hey, Meg. Am I being a pest?
No, of course not. I've had visitors all day. It helps. You know, keep my mind occupied until I'm going home with Tonio.
So your mind's definitely made up.
Yes. I wish you could accept that.
I'm sorry, Maggie, but this just throws me a little bit. I talked to Pam after she visited you. It seems she got the same impression that I'm getting, that you're scared of something, Meg.
What do I have to be scared about?
I'm not sure. Look, if this question's way out of line, you tell me and I'll get the hell out of here, okay? Is Tonio in some way forcing you to go back to him? Is he threatening you?
Accessories by R.J. Graziano. Join us tomorrow for As the World Turns.